Okay, is this thing on? We recording? Okay, good. Case number 1428, date June 27th, 1993. There are times when our faith is challenged. There are times when we question what is truly real and what is fiction. Today, I have interviewed the survivors of the infamous Isla Nublar incident. John Hammond, the founder of InGen Genetics, was unfortunately not among them, having met a tragic fate on his own island. The Costa Rican Guard has now labeled it as a restricted stretch of land. On June 23rd, the survivors of said incident were identified as famous archaeologists Alan Grant and Ellie Sackler. There was also chaotician Ian Malcolm, Hammond's lawyer, Donald Gennaro, his grandchildren Timothy and Alexis Murphy, renowned geneticist Henry Wu, and biologist Howard King. Thanks to the information given by the survivors, we now know the number of casualties dealt by the incident. We have a number of 74 deaths confirmed. To name a few, these names include publicist Ed Regis, wildlife veterinarian Jerry Harding, technician Dennis Nedry, security guards Carl Rodriguez, Gertie Arnolds, Ralph Michaels, David McCreary, James King, son of survivor Howard King, and, as mentioned before, John Hammond. Out of all the survivors previously listed, Howard King was the one who had the most to speak of when questioned. Currently, Mr. King wishes to remain silent out of shock, but has previously shared his experience with me. By the time of the storm, Mr. King had been traveling south in a Jeep at the same time as Ed Regis. The two had been sent out to find the absent Dennis Nedry. Once the storm had hit, his Jeep lost control and Mr. King had lost consciousness. By the time he awoke, Ed Regis had disappeared as well. For 2 days, Howard King has survived in the jumble by his own wits, eventually coming across the remains of Mr. Regis himself, one partially eaten leg. When he made it back to the visitor center, it was shortly after the departure of Ellie Sackler and Henry Wu through the sewer culverts. A team of mercenaries had arrived by then and found Mr. King passed out on the center's floor. They say he was dehydrated and barely alive. Currently, Mr. King is being treated by the medical group at Costa Rica, where the survivors are being detained. Word of the incident had reached the public, and they were not at all happy with this revelation. After pressing backlash from protesters, whoever stood on Hammond's side of the spectrum, Isla Nublar has been labeled restricted from any and all travel, by boat, by plane, or otherwise. All travel to Isla Nublar will be dealt with accordingly by the Costa Rican government. If there is anything that we have learned from this ordeal, is that nothing in this world is set in stone. We, as human beings, are cruel and yearning for a way to make a name for ourselves. And we take drastic roads to make them. We pray that God above treats the unfortunate victims of John Hammond's final business venture to the peace they are owed. And communication.